Is it focused? Is it focused? I look like a zombie. Hello party people, what's up? Today I wanted to talk to you about something that's very important to me. I'm currently in Vienna, Austria, visiting my friend Kirsten, and I did a workshop on nonviolent communication and anger management 2 days ago. And I started thinking about some other things because yesterday me and Kirsten watched this documentary on Netflix called Minimalism. And I've been trying to live a more minimalistic life for quite some time now. But I've noticed that even now, as a full-time traveler, full-time activist, I'm trying to live out of my backpack, but I'm just carrying too much stuff around with me. I actually have 2 backpacks, one big food bag, and another bag that's just carrying all the books that I bought. So what specifically do I actually want to talk to you about? Well, I would like to share a personal story with you, a story about me and how I was growing up and how my perspective has changed over the years. Growing up, it was just me and my mom. We didn't really have any money. My mom was always working a full-time job, usually 2 or 3 jobs at the same time to try and provide food on the table. And I basically grew up with this mindset that I'm never going to have any money and I'm never going to be happy for that reason, and I'm going to be left out, people are not going to like me, and so on and so on. So I started dreaming big. I started dreaming about this fancy house in California, and I wanted to have that car, I've always dreamt about, and I wanted to be accepted in society as with having all this money and all this stuff, right? So at one point when I was 18 years old, I didn't even graduate from high school yet, but I started working for this big company that focused on selling financial products. So I started getting involved in sales, and I started making a lot of money, and I wore a suit and a tie, and I attended all these workshops on how to make lots of money and how to win people over and how to manipulate them, things like that. Before I started working for this big company, I actually got engaged at one point. It was my sweetheart. I believed we were gonna spend the rest of our lives together. I was really excited. We were planning out this dream life that we had. But at one point, all these things just stopped making sense to me somehow. I wasn't happy, and I knew I needed to change something in my life. Now, when it comes to the engagement part, I was obviously very young. But I fell in love one day with another person, and that was very strange to me because I believed that I could only be in love with one person because she was the one for me, right? We were going to spend the rest of our lives together, but that didn't make sense to me anymore. So I started exploring monogamy and how we were so conditioned to actually believe that that's natural for us. And when I broke up with my girlfriend, telling her that this is just not making sense to me anymore and I want to choose a different life, I started thinking about all these other things and ideas, and I started exploring the way I was living and whether I want to continue down that road. So one day, I started questioning whether this job, whether that's actually really me, and whether I really want to have all these fancy things, and whether I really care about having that car and having that house, or whether I can actually live a happy life a different way, because I wasn't happy. So one day I quit that job. I didn't want to wear a suit and a tie anymore. It just didn't feel like me. Now, during this entire process, I already stopped consuming animal products because I realized all this cruelty, suffering, and violence that's going on behind the walls of slaughterhouses and factory farms, which also opened the doors for me to start exploring completely new ideas and perspectives on life itself. And obviously that led me to do activism. Now, when I started doing activism, I was still studying in high school, but when I finished high school, I knew I needed to get a job. Now, I used to study the traveling industry, the travel business and hotel industry and how they work, and I knew I always wanted to travel ever since I was a little kid, but I didn't quite know just how I would make that work, because after leaving that company, obviously I didn't really have much money. So I got this job at a vegan restaurant, and the only reason I got a job at a vegan restaurant was to have that vegan community and not have to work with actual animal products, for example. I used to work for this tiny vegan bistro in Prague, Czech Republic, called Veggie Garden. Tiny little place, really cozy, amazing food, I loved it, great community, but I struggled with severe social anxiety. So at one point I actually stepped down from being a waiter, like having to work with people all the time, with customers, and I knew I just wanted to go hide myself in the kitchen, but I didn't know anything about food. So I started washing the dishes and cleaning. And my boss was actually really disappointed, and he didn't want me to do that. I did it for a couple of months, but he kept reminding me of how I could do something more, and this is not a job for me. I kept telling him that I don't really care because I get the money that I need, and I also get this lovely community of like-minded people who share the same values, and I can just hang out with them. But after some time, I actually started hearing this voice in my head that said, you should probably do more than just washing the dishes. You should explore life, and you should travel more. You should explore new ideas. You should learn and grow. So I started traveling. The first city I went to, I hitchhiked to Vienna, Austria, which is where I am right now. So it's really exciting to be here. But traveling just expanded my ideas so much, and it taught me so many new things. And I learned that through that I can be happy even though I don't really have much money. So after some time I started exploring how I could actually make it work to become a full-time activist, traveling the world full-time, always on the road, being a nomad, this Viking life that I always dreamt of. And at that point, I was working a full-time job in an IT company when all of a sudden I got a call from my friend Siobhan. And she asked me whether I wanted to go to England to become a full-time activist. Now you should have seen the smile on my face. And when that video chat ended, I went ahead and I quit my job. I went to the UK, I did a tour all over the UK, I had an amazing time, met so many lovely people. I went to the Netherlands, I went to Belgium, I went to Luxembourg, I went to France, I went to Italy, now I'm in Austria, I went to Switzerland, all these beautiful, lovely places, and I can't even describe with words how happy that made me. I did sacrifice a few things that I had to leave behind, but ultimately the happiness that I'm feeling, all the hugs I get every single day, all these connections that I make with those people who share my values, even though we're so different and we disagree on so many things, we're still working for the same goal, and I cannot describe how happy that makes me. Now I have my computer with me, I have my camera, I have my phone so that I could work on social media, I have my wallet, I have some clothes. I have way too many clothes with me right now, but maybe that's something that I can address as well, and something that I can learn from. And with the books that I'm carrying with me, when I finish reading one, maybe I can pass it on to someone who can benefit from reading it as well. But ultimately, the idea that I wanted to share with you is that not having that much money, not having the dream car that I always wanted to have, not having that big fancy house, and instead just doing what I truly love doing, something that I've always wanted to do, just traveling the world, meeting all those lovely people, seeing new places almost every day, doing new things. Every new day is an adventure. Every hug with a person that I meet means so much to me. It makes me so happy. Like I said before, I cannot even find the right words to describe this feeling. It just feels amazing. And every time somebody sends me a message telling me that they're jealous because they want to travel as well, I say find your own way to make it work. Find your own way to make the things you love doing work. And instead of trying to make your life work around your job, find a job according to your life. Now I know that my job is to be out here, or there, and then back here again. All over the place. It doesn't matter where I am. What matters is that I'm doing the things I love doing in the process, and I'm not carrying unnecessary things along with me, and I'm not carrying those unnecessary ideas anymore with me either. Now, with all this being said, today I hope to inspire you to step outside of your comfort zone and take a risk and start doing what you truly love doing. Chances are that that thing will most likely be beneficial to the animal rights community as well. And knowing that as I'm trying to help the animals and other activists, I can also get to live the life of my dreams and be as happy as I possibly can is the best feeling I've ever felt. Thank you for listening to my story.